welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Barjo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am Darren.
Coming up on the show, we spiral through the air in Airscape.
And spin sticky webs in Spider Rite of the Shrouded Moon.
Arachnids. Scary.
Spiders are amazing. Did you know that spiders can't eat solids, so they liquefy their food with enzymes before slurping it up?
Ew, I really didn't need to know that, Bodger.
Oh, the average house has up to 30 spiders.
Whoa, yes, and they say that you're always within 3 feet of a spider at all times.
Well, stop it, you guys. Darren, just your challenge, please.
Oh, get your brains buzzing, spawnlings. It's time for a Darren's Challenge. Today, I'm asking you this. The platformer, Never Alone, is based on the mythology of which native Alaskan people? Answer at the end of the show.
All right, we should go to the news desk, but first I want to check under my chair.
Oh, also Australia has the world's largest spider by leg span, the huntsman.
What's that?
Oh, it's one of Barjo's old sandwich crusts. Disgusting.
Save that for later.
Thanks guys, Goose here with the Spawn Point news. Speedrunner Panacoic 2012 has offered a $1,000 prize to any gamer who can replicate a glitch in Super Mario 64. The glitch in question, which involved warping upwards on the tick-tock clock level, was discovered by another player and so far has not been successfully replicated. Panacoic 2012 hopes further understanding of the glitch will result in an ability to skip a large portion of the level and improve speedrunning times. And speaking of speedrunners, recently Spelunky God set a world record for the Spelunky speedrun of 1 minute and 47 seconds that left viewers and fellow players in awe. But even more recently, he's beaten that record, shaving 6 seconds off the previous time, completing the game in just 1 minute and 41 seconds. Amazing. Boston Dynamics, a robot company owned by Alphabet, previously Google, is developing a robot that is intended to not only rival humans and animals, but to exceed them. So far, Atlas, the robot, is able to maintain balance and traverse the same landscapes as humans, including over natural terrains such as soil and rocks. I think Darren still has trouble getting up one step. Maybe time to take a lesson from Atlas, Darren. And that's all the spawning news for this week. Back to you guys in the studio.
Hypothetical. You're an octopus living a peaceful life in your sea cave when a giant robot breaks through the wall and captures all your friends. What do?
Go from world to world rescuing your friends from evil robots?
What would you do, Darren?
Robots are my people. I would talk to them. Diplomacy, diplomacy, or complete annihilation.
Well, let's find out in Airscape, The Fall of Gravity.
Airscape, The Fall of Gravity, is an action platformer that pits a small octopus against lasers, mines, snipers, robotic tanks, lasers, missiles, and even more lasers, as you use your wits, reflexes, and cunning to avoid obstacles and rescue sea life to progress through the game. And did I mention the lasers?
Yeah, you did, Darren. The first few worlds are simple enough as you come to grips with the game's controls and mechanics. But it isn't long before that simplicity is taken away and blown up in some kind of diabolical laser sniper mine contraption. And the same thing happens to your octopus over and over and over again.
Did you know octopuses are considered to be the most intelligent of all invertebrates? So much so that when they're in captivity, they find ways to escape. They're considered to be excellent learners.
And it's a good thing too, because to get through these challenges, you'll need all the calamari wits you can muster.
Barjo, calamari are squid.
It's got tentacles, suckers, same thing. Close enough.
Negative.
Close enough.
Negative.
I think I unlocked the achievement for 100 deaths pretty early on in the game, and it only got harder and harder.
The Centenary of Failure Award, such a bittersweet moment.
And the 500 deaths achievement wasn't long after that.
At times, success and failure are only seconds apart, and the dizzying gravity effects are, well, dizzying. But fortunately, there are enough save points and checkpoints along the way that mean it's not too punishing if you don't get through something the first, second, third, fourth, or umpteenth time.
I often found myself thinking, is it even possible to get through this bit? But then, 20 or 30 or like a gazillion times later, I'd be getting through it easily.
Timing is the key. When you're as precise as me, timing is your greatest weapon.
Well, yes, but it's also about patience.
Yes, and patience isn't so much a virtue here as it is a necessity. Difficulty aside, there's a few really cool things about this game. Such as just how different each world was. The look, the feel, the mechanics. You never felt like you were doing the same thing. Another thing I really liked were the physics.
Yeah, I liked those floating globules of water and the shifting gravity, but I don't know, I thought there was an opportunity here for the physics to be made even quirkier.
Yeah, maybe, but it all made sense, which I think is the most important thing.
Oh, indeed. I felt the universe was internally consistent. From the rocket platform that moves in certain directions based on where your weight is, to the fans, to the mechanics of moving around and swimming. Everything reacted how I expected it would.
I had some trouble with the fans.
Not a fan?
Not a fan of those fans. I could never quite get the same reaction, even when doing the same thing. Sometimes it would blow me high, other times not so much.
But the important question is, Bajo, were you a fan of Airscape?
I was. It's full of cute characters and beautiful art, and it's also got some really challenging mechanics. I was pulling out more than a few clumps of hair while playing this hex.
What about you, Darren?
My biggest issue was the fact that you cannot play as the robots.
You wanted to play as evil robots?
Evil? They're just misunderstood.
Right, well, I'm gonna give this 3 out of 5 rubber chickens. I loved it.
It's 3 out of 5 from me as well.
Okay, now it's time for another Coding Corner segment with Goose and Julian.
Yes!
Hello and welcome to Coding Corner. I'm Goose.
I'm Julian.
In this segment, we've been looking at some clever game-making techniques in Scratch, and today's lesson is...
Light. By using light and darkness, we can add challenges to a game, say, by hiding an object against a dark background.
Oh, and clever lighting can make a game super spooky. Ooh.
Settle down, Goose, settle down.
Sorry.
This program has 2 sprites. One for the spotlight and one for the background. You can create your own or use the 2 we've included in the lesson notes here.
Start off by loading a plain black rectangle for the backdrop. Now load up the light sprite. See how it's an isosceles triangle, black at its base with a gradient changing the color to yellow by the time it reaches its acute angle. Load the second sprite. This is the background. Note the large transparent area in the middle and the black jagged shapes on the edges, almost like a cave.
Now to the scripts. Select the light sprite and select the scripts tab. From events, drag across a when green flag clicked block. Below that, from motion, add a point in direction blank block and set the drop down to 90 degrees.
Now go to Control and add a forever loop below that, and 2 if-then clauses inside it. For the clause for the first loop, go to Sensing and insert a key blank pressed hexagon. Set the drop down to right arrow. From motion, add a turn blank degrees to the right block and set the variable to 5. For the second if-then clause, do the same, except select left arrow from the drop down and insert a turn 5 degrees to the left block.
Now start off another stack with the when green flag clicked block. From Control, put a forever loop below that. Go to Looks and insert a go back X layers block. For the variable, enter 8 nines, a decimal point, and a 0.
Now select the background sprite and select the Scripts tab. From Events, begin a stack with a when green flag clicked block. From Motion, add a go to XY block and leave both coordinates as 0.
Go to Looks and add a Show block. From Control, add a forever loop below that, and from Looks, insert a Go to Front block. So now the program is done. Let's test it.
Okay, and I'll just click on the green flag and I'll use the left and right arrows to move, and it works! It's like I'm in a spooky cave.
Let's break down how we made this illusion work. The first stack controls the rotation of the triangle, which is our torch. The second stack makes sure that the torch is always at the back. And the third stack ensures that the cave is always in front.
So that's all it takes to create the illusion. I can think of so many potential ways to use this. Oh, my head is spinning.
Well, don't worry, Goose. You can make your own spooky game with this.
Okay, settle down. Until next time, guys, remember that all our notes can be found on the website here, so better get coding. Goose out.
Julian out.
I'm freaking out now.
Thanks, Goose and Julian.
The light won't rotate, Darren.
Oh, you forgot to add the control stack, Barjo. But there's no time for that now. You two have to go to the spawn point desk.
Okay, let's get stuck into these questions. And first up, we have this one from ABCBA from Alphabet Town in New South Wales. Hi GGSP, I'm playing Ori and the Blind Forest on the Xbox One and have gotten to the part of Sorrow Pass where you have to move the ball things to block the lasers. I moved the first two and went back to save and the first ball was gone. I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm so annoyed because now I can't get through. How can I fix this? Thanks. P.S. Ori is actually a girl.
Well, sorry to hear you've got stuck. Hopefully we can help you out.
But if we've already passed that point in the game, it might be hard for us to actually replicate your problem. Although we have noticed that if we go back there, it's possible for us to make one of the balls disappear. Which sounds like what's happened to you.
Yes, it seems like if you end up with the ball that spawns here, blocking this laser, then it will disappear when you go back. And if you've got the other ball still over there, well, then you may actually be completely stuck because that destroyed ball will only respawn after the laser.
But don't lose hope just yet. Our solution would be to try and load up a backup save. Just go to the main menu, find your current save file and press up on the D-pad. There, you'll see the last 5 saves that you made. Hopefully, one of them will put you back somewhere before you got stuck.
Yes, as for Ori being a girl, well, I point you to Exhibit A, the game's official website, which says the following, and I quote, Ori is a bit of a coming-of-age story. The player is put into the role of a forest spirit, who, over the course of his journey, has to find out more about his role within the world he's living in. Also, Exhibit B, Ori is a Hebrew boy's name that means light. Case closed.
Actually, Barjo, may I present to you Exhibit C, a comment from one of the game's developers that says, and I quote, Ori is usually used as a boy's name indeed. However, we didn't intend Ori to be a boy, or a girl specifically. You won't see their gender mentioned anywhere in the game. It's open for everyone's personal interpretation. So there you go, straight from the developer's mouth. Ori's gender is designed to be open to interpretation.
Well, I mean, technically I had 2 exhibits and you had only 1, so that really means I win. Case closed!
But the developers said...
No, case closed! Case closed!
Barjo.
I said good day, sir.
All right, well, let's move on to this one from King of Minecraft, who was in French Perth, Western Australia.
Your Highness.
Ha-ha.
Hey GGSP, last episode you reviewed Polybridge. Would you consider it educational? Darren is a noob. Banjo, do these. Thanks.
Well, your Minecraft Highness, I think you could certainly argue that it's educational to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some tricky puzzles that require you to actually understand how to engineer a bridge, which is not that easy.
Some of those levels are hard, aren't they? So to make it through, you'll definitely have to learn a little bit about how to distribute weight and how to use things like supports, arches, trusses and suspension to keep a bridge from falling apart.
Yes, it's obviously not a totally realistic bridge building simulator, but a lot of the same kinds of physics that apply in real life do apply in Polybridge. So there's definitely an educational aspect to it.
And it's the best kind of education, the kind that's fun and interesting, where you end up learning things without feeling like you're actually being taught. That's awesome.
They are fantastic. Sneaky education,
Yeah,
Hex.
super sneaky. But speaking of games with some sneaky education, let's move on to this one from Lachlan in Location, New South Wales.
I've been there.
You've been to Location?
I've been to Location. It's pretty sweet.
Where in New South Wales is it?
It's just
What? Hi, good game. How do make a good plane in KSP? Well, maybe we should actually ask Darren about this one, since he's definitely the best at Kerbal Space Program.
What are you saying, Hex? Are you saying that I can't make a good plane? Because I'll have you know, my planes are fabulous, Hex. They're fabulous.
I think you should just give him a call.
All right. They are fabulous, though. They've got style and finesse and panache.
Hello.
Hello, Darren. It's Barjo and Hex.
Hello. How can I help you?
Hi, Darren. How do you make a good plane in KSP?
Well, there are an almost infinite number of aircraft and spaceplane designs possible with KSP, and how you design your craft depends completely on what you want your craft to be able to achieve, as well as what parts you have access to.
Well, Darren, I'm not sure we have time to go through an infinite amount of designs today, so maybe you can just talk about building a simple plane today and then focus on the basics.
Oh well, if I must. So to build a basic plane, simply start with a cockpit. From there, you'll need to build the fuselage or main body of the plane. For this, if you only have access to basic parts, you can use small fuel tanks like these. Now, place a jet engine behind the fuel tanks to keep the center of thrust aligned with the body. But note to empty out the oxidizer, since that saves weight and you won't need it for this engine. You'll also need an air intake for a jet engine to operate.
All right, Darren, let's fly this bad boy.
Not so fast, Barjo. It's going to need wings.
Oh, okay. I knew that. I knew it needed wings.
Of course. When placing wings, make sure the symmetry option is selected and place some wings near the middle of the craft and also add some tail fins, like so. At this point, you should check your craft's center of lift and center of mass. Ideally, you want your center of lift just slightly behind the center of mass, as this will make your plane more stable. Now, just make sure the wings you use either have inbuilt control surfaces, or if they don't, attach some elevons like so, or else you won't be able to steer your plane. Finally, add some landing gear, and there you have it. A basic plane.
Oh, can we fly it now, Darren?
Oh, of course. Take it for a spin.
All right, I feel the need. I feel the need for speed. Hey, this is a pretty good little plane, Darren.
Oh, thank you. It is, of course, an extremely basic plane. As you play through the career or in the sandbox, you'll unlock access to far more specialized parts designed to build much bigger and more advanced planes that can even launch straight into orbit. The same general design rules apply for almost every plane you create. Although, if you plan to build a space plane, well, that's a whole other lesson. But feel free to experiment and try new things and take them for test flights and find out what works and what doesn't.
All right. Well, guys, I think it's time to bring this bad boy in. Permission to land, Darren.
Permission granted.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I can't watch. You have such a bad history of landings in Kerbal Space Program, Barjo.
Hex, please. I think I know how to land a simple little plane. Okay, it's crashed.
Oh, you monster.
It's all right, Darren. It was an unmanned plane.
No, it wasn't.
It was. Thanks for that, Darren.
Kerbals.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Goodbye.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. I think, Hex, is that correct?
Yes, that is actually. But if you'd like to ask us something, then you can go here and send in your question.
Oh, the carnage.
Oh, it's so bad.
Don't look, Hex, don't
How
look.
are you so bad at this game, Barjo? You crash everything. Okay, guys, it's bug squashing time.
Spider, Rite of the Shrouded Moon is the second game in this wall-crawling spider series. And much like the first game, you'll be zipping and spinning your webs to snare an impressive collection of insects. But you can't just spin webs recklessly. You'll need to use your spider sense to build efficient webs.
Affirmative. To create a web, you'll need to string at least 3 strands together to make a triangle. Then the web will fill itself in and be ready to catch insects.
But the game's real strategy comes into play in deciding where to place your webs. Many insects have predictable flight paths, so you can easily set up sticky traps for them. Although your web strands will snap if you try and string them too far, so you'll need some nearby objects to anchor them to.
Yeah, some of my webs were pretty unorthodox depending on what furniture was around. The game also challenges you by strictly limiting the number of web strands you have. Run out of threads and it's game over for Spidey.
You can regain some precious threads by eating insects, but you will still need to be careful about how many strands you use. Ideally, you want to construct your webs in positions that block at least 2 insects' flight paths.
Good point, Darren. I also noticed there's a bonus multiplier for every bug you catch without touching the ground.
I never managed to combo more than a few insects, but I bet there's some pro players out there who managed to do an entire level with one combo.
Yeah, no doubt. Although, Darren, couldn't you just use your amazing robotic reflexes to show us a perfect combo?
Well, of course I could, but I wouldn't want to embarrass you two, and I'm currently running routine diagnostics on my reflex subroutine, so they're offline right now.
How convenient, Darren.
Well, anyway, there is more to this game than just combos. I also noticed that different insects require their own strategies. Some bugs need to be tackled with a nifty jump, while bigger insects have to be knocked into your webs. And ants move really quickly, so you have to anticipate their movement and jump in front of them.
You're right, Hex. Some of those later insects are super tricky. Especially the bigger flies that can bust out of triangle webs. I had no idea how to trap them until I realized stronger square webs were needed.
The worst were the red hornets. They attack you with their stingers and can only be beaten with some serious arachnid acrobatics. Oh, take that.
Nicely done, Darren. But I also liked that underneath all of this web weaving and insect eating, there is a deeper mystery to solve. As you explore the mansion's various locations, you'll stumble across clues that begin to piece together the dark secrets behind the Blackbird estate.
There's certainly no shortage of gameplay crammed into these locations. There's clues to find. Most locations are broken up into multiple rooms, with secret areas on top of that. Plus, this barn level has lots of moving parts, so I had to thread my webs super quickly before the machinery snapped them. Huh.
The developers have also cleverly implemented real-time weather and time of day. So if you play a level during the day, not only will the weather match what you see out the window, but if you return to the same level at night, it will be altered to feature nocturnal insects.
Yes, it's very impressive, isn't it? And I also heard that real-world weather ties into the clues. Apparently there are some secrets that only reveal themselves when it rains.
I could do my rain dance for you if you like.
No, that's okay, Bajo. I think I'll just be patient. Thankfully, there is plenty to keep me busy with here. This game is just so polished and the difficulty curve is spot on. And I love all the little details like the insect collection and all of the stats. I'm giving this 4 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Yes, even if you don't like creepy crawlies in real life, you'll enjoy them in this game. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 rubber chickens as well. Now, Hex, would you like to see my rain dance now?
Fine.
It's working!
Oh, it's amazing! It's a miracle!
Wait, no, my hair!
Oh, it's hitting my joints!
I'll just stop!
Oh, it tingles! Oh, it's going to take ages to dry out the studio.
Well, I thought that was quite refreshing. Oh, but Darren, what's the answer to your challenge?
Well, at the start of the show, I asked you, the platformer Never Alone is based on the mythology of which native Alaskan people? And the answer is the Inupiats!
Well, next week on the show, we travel to a galaxy far, far away for an entire Star Wars special.
Star Wars!
I'll save this for the Separatists. They're tenacious. How many times have we had to chase them off this planet?
Too many, Master. I guess they haven't learned their lesson yet.
A vital location. Geonosis is. Give it up without a fight. They will not.
We're approaching our target.
I have a good feeling about this one.
Oh, I'll have to build a planet-destroying Death Star laser just for the occasion.
Whoa, Darren, I don't think you need to go that far.
Yeah, besides, we need you to leave time for rehearsals for Spawn Point Live! Coming up on Saturday, September the 5th, Hex, Darren, Goose and I will be performing live on stage at the Enmore Theatre in Sydney.
We're going to have loads of special guests, a live Spawn Point League and our Spawn Point. It's going to be so much fun and we'd love to see you there.
Goodness me, that's next weekend.
You're right, Darren. We better get ready. Well, until next time, Bajo out.
Hex out.
Darren out.
You know what? I'm going to do my own sun dance to try and dry out the studio a bit. Ready?
That's a good idea. Go for it.
It's working.
Oh, it's so warm.
Oh, the warmth. I'm going to dry out my clothes.
Oh, it makes me happy.
Oh, catching some rays. Oh.